Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens. This is Jake, and today we are joined by two of the four partners of Hidden Barn, and now our most tenured guest with 4 appearances on the Bourbon Lens, Jackie Zykan and Nate Winegar. Thank you all for joining the Bourbon Lens. How are you all?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Of course.
It's an honor to be back again.
Yes.
Can't get enough of you guys.
I know. We've hit on all the different things with Jackie. Old job, what she does in her downtime, and now we're talking about the passion projects that she's into here with Hidden Barn. And Nate and Scott and I randomly 2 years ago at Bourbon Festival just became buds. Like, we just hit it off. We hung out and we sat down. We watched this old school cocktail class, Sam Montgomery and someone else. And it was hot as shit. And there was bees everywhere from everyone using honey. And like, we just were BSing. And, from then 5280 and everything that Nate's done, followed closely and became friends. So this is all coming together real nicely here for this episode.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So, real quick, for people who don't know Hidden Barn, I'll let you all decide who gives the story. How did the 4 of you all come together to create and partner to make Hidden Barn happen?
Nate, do you want to go? Do you want me to go? I mean, it's funny because it started in the same way that you guys all came to know each other. It all starts just like drinking whiskey together. So I will talk about how I got to know Nate, and then Nate, I'll let you share the rest of it. Because I was the late add to this project. It was up and rolling, and I definitely came in at the 11th hour. So I was out at Breckenridge, Colorado at the Breckenridge Hog Fest. It's this like whiskey and bacon festival, which is mountains, whiskey, and bacon, like combine all those things, like sold. And this very tall man comes walking up to me with a bottle of birthday bourbon, uncracked. And I'm like getting ready to grab my Sharpie out of my pocket, because usually that's the case, right? Like, can you sign this? And I'm going to go sell it, whatever. And he just said, hey, I've been saving this. I wanted to open it with you because you put it together, and I just want to talk to you about it while we drink it. And I was so taken back. I was like, no one has ever offered me their birthday bourbon before. Like, no one has ever like purposely saved a bottle to open to drink with me. This is insane. And we sat down and we had a pour. And that very tall man was Nate Winegar. And we've known each other ever since. I used to go out there to Denver quite a bit to do different stuff with Old Forester. It was a big market for us. And the 5280 Whiskey Society, we always had an event with them. It was always great. And I don't know. And then eventually now we go out, we play in the snow together, and we just became more friends than anything, right? And then this project came along and they invited me to be a part of it. But like I said, there's definitely a backstory to the other partners in this outfit. So Nate, I'll hand it over to you to share that.
Yeah, I will say, I'll never forget Jackie and I sitting at the side of the mountains, sitting at the side of this lake, drinking a bottle of birthday bourbon. But we have gone back to that festival since, and actually had Hidden Barn there last year, which was kind of a cool, kind of full circle thing. The other thing I will say about that is when Jackie came out here, it's usually physical activities like cross-country skiing or snowshoeing. So that's like my 1-year exercise. So it's good that she comes out once a year so I can do the exercise at least once a year. But so with the others, it was the same thing. Just like Jackie, opening bottles and sharing them. And Matt had come to a 5280 whiskey event back in, I think it was 2018. And I said, hey, I'd like to be more involved if you need somebody to be more involved or whatnot down the line. And he had come to some of the events and was able to kind of connect through there and drinking and sharing. And he ended up becoming part of 5280 and becoming one of my partners with 5280 Whiskey Society over time, and has been an instrumental part with that continuing to grow and be successful. And then Royce Neeley was in New Orleans. The first time I met him was at New Orleans Bourbon Festival, and I was actually in a seminar that I think it was Trey Zeller and maybe like Andrew Webrink from Independent Stave. And this kid kept asking all these questions. And I was just like, how does this kid know like so much about whiskey? I didn't know who Royce was at the time or anything really about Neeley family distillery or whatnot, but I was pretty impressed just listening to the conversations, and got introduced to him, and ended up he came out when a movie Kindred Spirits came out. He was a part of that movie, and 5280 did a charity screening of that movie, and that's where we kind of connected at that point. So everything whiskey related, and just all came together and brought everybody together, and that's where Hidden Barn was kind of born and as it launched.
No, that's awesome, and we talk about it all the time. But you all know this, just like everything, like bourbon is a community, right? It's about bringing people together, not being a divisive thing. It's like cracking a bottle and whatever, if it's the rarest thing in the world or if it's, Old Fritz Prime, right? It doesn't matter. Like it's about like that shared camaraderie and conversation. And so it's cool to see like going to these events has connected all of us kind of in a weird way to make these things happen, and how that came with Hidden Barn. So we're now 2 years into this project, if I'm not mistaken, maybe longer on the back end.
Let's go with 10 months.
10 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems like 2 years.
It feels like it.
It feels like
It's like 10 years.
It does.
10 months, 10 years, 10 months. Yeah.
Wow. 10 months. That's nuts. I feel like it's just been around for a while now. So we're 10 months into this. Like, what's been that first year? Because the first year is almost done. What's that whirlwind been like for you all?
I mean, the original goals at the very beginning, 10 months ago, were vastly different than what they are now. We just grew really, really quickly. And I don't know how to describe it. Like, you're busy all the time, but it's not like you're stressed out busy like you are in other situations. That makes sense. Like everything you're doing has so much intention and purpose behind it, but it is a constant. Every day there's something new. You learn something new every hour. Something new pops up that you're like, damn, like shit. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had a pretty good understanding of many different elements of this industry, not just dealing with the liquid itself, and it's just every day you discover how much you really don't know. And that's actually kind of fun, but also very exhausting and terrifying. But also, that's just the reality of it. But we're busy.
No, that's awesome, but scary, I'm sure.
We definitely, we've learned a lot of lessons early on, and some of them are costly sometimes, and some aren't. But getting into this business, we were all into whiskey. We were all into it, and Jackie, as a career, and with 5280 and whatnot, and Matt, and Royce, of course, with a distillery. But the reality is, it's launching a brand is difficult. It's tricky, and there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of things you don't have control over. Some things you do, and even some of the stuff you have control over is difficult too. So, it's challenging. It's rewarding. I wouldn't trade it for what I was doing before, and say that. And being able to do this and doing whiskey for a living is enjoyable. And like Jackie said, it's not like the stress and things that I was feeling before in my previous career. It's more of just learning and there's some stuff that's tough. I will say that I've gained a ton of respect for people in this industry. Because on the other side of it with 5280, I always just got to do the fun part of enjoying and drinking and hanging out. But there is a lot of work that people put behind everything, from the people that are pouring at the festivals to, with Jackie going and presenting and putting together presentations. Like, there's a significant amount of work and effort that people put behind those things. And I've really gained significant amount of respect for everybody in this industry that's on that side of it, and the hard work they put it out just so that we can enjoy a nice glass of whiskey. So
I guess talking about some of those challenges, is one of the big challenges you guys being in different locations? I mean, it's not like you've got a headquarters that is in one city and everybody can just come to work every day, 9 to 5, and figure things out and move on about your business.
given where we're distributed, it's fine. I don't see any issue with that. I mean, we always enjoy when we're all in the same spot together, of course, but I think for the most part, a lot of the work is like literally in a screen anyways. But like, I don't know, it's interesting because we do travel. We travel around together and like do all the things and what have you. But the hardest part about it is just that there's only 4 of us, right? Like total. That's it. And there's a lot of things that have to be taken care of for 4 people to dish out. And then when you start expanding into different states and then everybody wants your time. And then, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's great. I don't mean to sound like I'm like complaining about it by any means, but I think it's just, it's a lot of stuff. I don't know, Nate, what's your perspective on that?
I mean, I think it's fine. It's the reality is technology's pretty good. We're sitting here on Zoom and whatnot, and we have the ability to communicate directly, look at each other, and have conversation whenever we need. So, that doesn't impact it. I like that we're all able to. That we don't all have to be the same place in the same office. I think that, sometimes our offices are all over the place. Sometimes we're taking calls and doing things from mountains and from, different locations and all kinds of things. And that kind of makes it nice that we can kind of live our lives, but also, be a part of this. And, we see each other a lot when we travel, and we see each other a lot at some of the events, and we always enjoy that time. And, so I don't think it impacts. That's not definitely one of the things that impacts. There's that's something.
Glass shortages and everything else.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of shortages, right, and a lot of things that are out there that we've been lucky. Matt, who's one of our partners, does a good job securing a lot of those items for us, and we've been very fortunate with kind of staying ahead with that, and that hasn't really been something that's impacted us as much. So,
yeah. So, one of the other things I've been interested in, because you all have had so much success right off the bat, right? Like there's been a good synergy. I think people have, built camaraderie. We saw it at Kentucky Bourbon Festival last year. For those people who didn't get a chance to go and see it, you all were one of the first booths to sell out of their whiskey, like throughout the weekend, which was awesome to kind of see that response that people came up, they tried it and they bought it. One of the benefits to Kentucky Bourbon Festival, Sips to Lips, and the opportunity for you all to direct sell. Great. And shout out to Kentucky Bourbon Festival. See you in September. Scott, we can put that another ding that we talked about them again. Always be selling.
Do they send you $5 every time you mention them in your podcast? What's
Plug.
happening here?
Yeah, no, they make sure we earn our keep to go and get a free ticket.
I see. I see.
But that's one of the things I thought was really interesting. It was the success you all had right out of the gate. Now, as you get ready for batch 2 and we're moving into that, how does that, put constraints on your liquid, and then the urge probably to enter more markets, right? Because you've seen success in the markets that you are in. Like, how's that dynamic been for you all, just kind of as a startup, to figure that balance out?
So there's a couple of different things to tackle in this, right? So yeah, we had an amazing experience with the Bourbon Festival. Ding. Sorry, I had to put the ding in.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
Anyway,
I like it.
Everybody was sleeping on that one. That's okay.
Timestamp.
We did, but then again, keep in mind, like, we were the shiny new object at that point in time too, right? And you can sell anybody a bottle of whiskey once. The key is for them to come back and want to get the next one and the next one and the next one. Selling one bottle of whiskey or right off the bat isn't a success by any means.
Yeah,
we're appreciative for it, absolutely, but that's kind of the fun part about it, because every batch to batch, I'm not blending them for consistency. I'm blending them based on what I have at my disposal in that moment and who's going to have the best time together out of those barrels. And so every single batch is a different flavor profile, which gives you reason to explore and get kind of curious about what the next one's going to be. But thankfully, though, like, people are buying a second bottle or a third or whatever, and we're doing great. And this is good. These are good problems to have, right? But we're such a small team that, like, when it comes to things like expanding into new markets, you want to be able to be in every single state right off the bat because people are like reaching out constantly. You feel like you're doing nothing but disappointing people, or they're like, I can't find it. It's not here yet. And then you feel that pressure of like, well, how long do we have to expand before they stop wanting us to be there anyways, before they forget about us, right? You have to stay present in it. So e-commerce has been a really great option for us to kind of spread into other markets without having to have feet on the ground necessarily. That's been a really great thing. But other than that, we have to expand slowly because we are a small team, and you can't just launch in a market and then not support the market that you've launched in. You can't just like, have a baby and like be like, all right, good luck. Bye. You're going to get lost. There's so many brands out there. There's no way. You have to show up. Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the things that people just don't realize. Like you have to be there. You have to be present. You have to go and shake hands, kiss babies, do all of it, have the distributor lunches, have the liquor store meetups or whatever. Like that's a grind. Like that is no joke.
It is.
Yeah. And you said it before, whiskey to lips.
Yeah.
You got it. Whiskey to lips, and you've got to do that. And that takes somebody pouring it and getting it to people and having that conversation. And when there's four of us, that's Jackie and I going, just like we went to St. Louis recently, and we had a great time there and saw 2,000 people, and then we're on to the next. And I was back-to-back weekends doing festivals in Colorado here, and that's what we do right now. We want to get it and bring in those consumers that haven't had a chance to try it. But it takes work, like Jackie said. And as you get bigger and bigger, we can't be in all those places at once. And you have to start making decisions on like, how do you get whiskey to lips and those type of things. So we've gone very conservatively as we've grown, just to make sure that we can accommodate the markets that we've gone into.
And what markets are you all like being distributed in, not from an e-commerce perspective, but from a like bottles on shelves?
So Kentucky, Colorado, obviously were our first two markets. Missouri, they're doing phenomenal. We just opened up Louisiana, and off to a great start down there. Nevada. So Nate and I went out to Vegas as the first. I've never been to Vegas in my entire career. I have never gone ever. I have always found someone else to go. And I finally ripped that Band-Aid off. So, but they're doing great out there. It's fun to be able to go and talk about it and do all the things. But I don't know. I don't think that I've sat down with anybody and tasted them on it and then gone, it's not for me. Every single person either was like, we've been waiting for you to get here, or like they taste it through someone else or what have you, or they taste it right then and they're like, yeah. And there's something for everybody in it, because we do have two different series now, two different mash bills and all that fun stuff. So it very much just, there's a little something for everybody. So it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
I think that's been fun at some of the festivals because we have the different series or different batches that Jackie talked about, not always being blended to a profile. It's fun to see what batches or which series people like. And it is divided up very much. There's something for everybody for sure. Definitely all. Yeah.
Well, and that was one of the things that I just kind of noticed. Like I've drank Series 1 Batch 5, and I'm now taking a drink of Series 2 Batch 1. But the color difference on the two is like night and day. One's a little more hay color, one's more amber. Like those are some really interesting differences there. Like even in, whiskey variability from the color and the depth from just the naked eye perspective, which you may be drawn to one versus the other, like because we're going to taste with our eyes and our nose before we even put it in our mouth, right? So let's talk a little bit about the liquid itself, right? It's a pot still distillation. So can you walk us through just a little bit the different nuances between Series 1 and Series 2? Because I know the batches are different, but are the mash bills consistent in both series, or are they just different every batch? Wow.
Yeah. So every batch is different, but series to series, there's always a common denominator, right? So Series 1 is coming out of the Neeley family distillery. It is all pot still. He's using wild yeast out there. So that's going to give some very unorthodox flavors from time to time. And that's coming off the still at, Nate, why am I not remembering this number?
127.
120.
127, I think. 120. Around, it's in the 120s, low 120s. 127. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So keep this in mind. We released how many Series 1 batches now? And I've put together 3 different batches for Series 2. So every batch is a different number of barrels, and it's a different this and it's a different that. It's not like I'm used to being like, here's the mash bill. This is where it's all made. This is where it's all aged. It's all the same, but it's different. This is like, shit, I don't remember that kid's birthday. You know what I mean? Like, it's that exact effect.
Well, so speaking of, we had Jackie on the first time you did the series 117 series.
Yeah.
And you had your spreadsheet. You like pulled it out, and it was like all your barrels that you chose from. Like you could see where your kids were all aged and where they hung out. This one's a little bit different experience. It's like we have stepchildren over here, and we have great grandkids, and this is a family reunion. We all know each other, but come here, barrels.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So we've done batches as small as 4 barrels. I guess 3 barrels, if you really want to call it that, for the Madeira finish one, all the way up to 22 barrels. So still an incredibly small number, but and some of them are 16, and some of them are 12, and some of them are 8, and it's a lot. Anyway, it's all on the website, though, if you guys ever get curious. It is there. We are transparent. It's just that my brain has been oversaturated with way too many things. Anyway, so he's going into the barrel super low. He's coming off the still super low. None of this touches any water after it's dumped out. There's no dilution. There's no filtration on it. This is just straight barrel to bottle on this. But the exact same thing is happening with Series 2. So same situation of pot still, same situation as Series 1 in that it's not filtered. But so Series 2 is coming out of MB Roland, and he's coming off the still at 110 and going straight into the barrel at 110. So it doesn't see water at all through the process. And it's about a year and some change older on average than Series 1. So there's that color difference that you're referring to. Big time. Yeah.
Wow. Nothing we put on is under 4 years of age. So
yeah.
The MB, the Series 2 is like a 5 to almost 6 year age match. And then the Series 1 is a 4 to 5 year. And the mash bill is the difference too. It's a 70-20-10 on Neeley on the Series 1. And the big difference on the Series 2, it's a high rye bourbon. So it's a 60-35-5. So you've got 35% rye in that Series 2, which on top of no water, it plays different for sure.
Well, like my mind always goes to food. So Scott, I'm just going to go here real quick. Like first drink of the Series 2, like if you're going to those barbecue festivals, like holy shit, like that is it. Like you got your ribs, whatever kind you like, and you're drinking that. Like there's brown sugar, there's pit smoke, there's a little bit of like tobacco, like pipe tobacco. Like it's what I would want to drink with my barbecue, but I'm drinking my barbecue now, so I don't even have to go and have it. Saving calories that way.
Save a few pounds. Yeah.
No, but now all I want is ribs.
Thanks. Oh, now I'm hungry.
I know, like you're describing them.
Hey, I'm just saying, like,
the smoke was immediately apparent for me. Like, on the nose, I just kept going back to him, like, and it does like have this like tobacco, like pipe tobacco smokiness.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, not to like get into the weeds on it, but like, that's so interesting. The difference, right, between what two distilleries are doing, where they are comparatively to each other. One's a little bit up 71, one's, almost to Tennessee, basically. Like the difference in summer and the climate, like the terroir of Kentucky, not to be super nerdy, but like that's happening with these two batches. Cause you can take a lot of barrels and create cool flavors, but the differences in mash bill and flavors are giving you a lot of unique characteristics, I think. So like working, with the two different style of mash bills, one's more traditional bourbon, one's a little more high rye, or is high rye, when you're going into these projects, and we'll focus on batch 2 here, or Series 2, as you've, started this, working with the distillery that people may not be familiar with, and you're probably familiar. You've probably tasted all the barrels that you have access to. What's it like when you're trying to put your hands around, a whole new type of distillate that you've not really worked before and creating something for Hidden Barn?
honestly, it's kind of the same process as anything else. Step one is just kind of an eagle eye view, wide scope of defect analysis, and then weeding out from there. And then after that, it's just sort of like you're at the mercy of what's mature and available to work with, right? We're not like custom mash billing anything right now. Like we're brand spanking new. So we buy everything as it's of age. But then you just have to go in and literally get to know every single barrel, and then balance is balance, right? It all kind of works out the same, even though you come across some very interesting nuanced notes. So I love that you pulled out the smokiness in the series 2, because that entire lot of barrels. It was literally a total of 30 barrels, and that's it of that particular mash bill that he had available. And that was of age. And there were 3 barrels out of the 30 that all had that weird, not weird in a bad way, but very interesting barbecue note to them and the smokiness of it. And so each of those 3 10-barrel batches got one of those barrels to at least anchor that consistently through. But then the rest of it is kind of all over the place. The batch 1 of series 2 leans a little bit more brown sugar. The batch 2 of series 2 pulls in more of the herbaceous qualities that rye really has to offer. And so like they're all a little bit different, but I'm not beholden to a set flavor profile, right? And I don't have to make it taste the same. So it's really just like make it balanced and make sure it's quality and call it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And so like, you know, Nate, from your all's perspective, Jackie's doing this work. Like, how do you all balance that to make sure like, hey, like what's your all's tasting panel like? What does this look like? Or is it just like blind trust? Jackie threw the dart at the dartboard and she better hit that damn thing.
Well, Jackie's got a certain skill set that I don't have. So I trust Jackie. We all do taste it. We taste batches, and Jackie will share those with us. We've done some tastings together, but this is the thing I learned a long time ago with 5280 and selecting, you know, private barrels many times is like Jackie is producing a product for consumers and people that people will enjoy. And it's specifically Jackie and I have different likes in our palates, where she may be a little bit more liking some more sweet tones, and I like more spiced, like really peppery and you know, baking spice kind of. And so that's okay. And the biggest thing is something that's defect free and balanced. And Jackie does a hell of a job doing that. She's able to taste these barrels. I mean, watching her work and be able to get into a barrel and be able to look for defects and find out, you know, number one, are we going to continue with this barrel? Is this one that we're going to take on? And then 2, her ability to blend. I think a lot of people think blending is just dumping shit together and, you know, all of a sudden it either tastes good or it doesn't, or it's a unicorn or it's not. And it's like people have no clue that if you took 5 honey barrels or unicorn barrels and dumped them all together, someone might think that would be the ultimate mystical barrel, but in fact, it would probably be the mutedest and just a blah. It takes a lot of work. So that's Jackie's skill set, and I don't step over there. I just enjoy and watch her work.
Not a bad plan.
No.
Yeah, I mean, in the very beginning, though, when we all had more time together, you guys were out here quite a bit. Like we all really, because some days my palate is different, right? Like, and I have to learn how to discern whether it's in the same place that it's always been to do certain projects. Like it's just kind of all over the place. So it's nice to have other input. And then, of course, as you're tasting through these whiskeys, like you're going to get burnt out, like your palate just gets fried. And so it's good to have other people in it. But anymore, like we've had to pull the trigger on some batches so quickly that it's like, shit, I guess I better go pull samples tomorrow and figure this out today. Like just boom. So there's not really time to like go back and forth and wax poetic about it. It's just like, all right, let's just get it out.
Yeah. Do you kind of have like an inventory of like barrels, and like you've done a tasting note panel of those barrels? So you're like, okay, I need this barrel that has this quality to bring in this batch, and you just go and find it, and then just
Yep. I mean, I keep samples. My house used to be full of whiskey. Now my house just is one big house of whiskey. Like it's insane. Like samples like on windowsills and it's just everywhere. But you keep the sort of abbreviated tasting notes. Like, it's funny, I have a sheet sitting right here. It it's very fancy. I don't know, like the light is probably too bright for you to see that. It's chicken scratch, and I have like different codes and different symbols, and like I got a whole weird system about it. But yeah, that way like, okay, I'm gonna need to pull this one in, and then what the barrel's going to yield is also something that's really key that people don't really think about either. So there's a lot of different parts to it, but it's a puzzle and it's fun, right?
There was a movie on HBO about chess. It was not a real movie, but it was kind of a series that was on there. And the actress in that movie, she would move the pieces on the ceiling. And when I watch Jackie work, it's like the Glens. She's like moving them around like chess pieces. It's like amazing to watch, like how she is, like her mental organization of like, and what she holds in her head. I can only imagine what's going on. But when she's moving those Glens around and figuring out the different complexities of each batch, so pretty fun to watch.
No, it's definitely an experience. We've blended one thing together. We did a thing with Penelope, and we did our own batch. It's hard. It's a lot of guessing at first to figure out the most important thing. I like what you said. You had one barrel characteristic. You're looking for an anchor, right? That's the most important thing, is to find what you want your base to be and then build on top of that. I think to listen to people that blend all the time, it's an art. It's not a science. Like, there is science behind it, yes, because you're looking for flaws and defects and congeners and blah 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 blah. We're not going to go there, but it is an art. Like it is a way to make your Picasso or your Warhol or whatever artist you so choose. And I think we so many times here in Kentucky say mingle or whatever. Like, no, blending is not a bad term. We need to get over it. It is an art form
Agreed.
that is true to great character of whiskey and making whiskey what it is.
No, I agree completely. I think we're starting to kind of get over that hump of it being a negative thing, right? And I think we're so far distanced from the craze of drinking blended whiskey now, like that we don't have to worry about that so much. But I don't know. It's interesting that old world whiskey reveres it as such a craft and an art and all those things, and then you come over here and it's just it's non-existent. It's very strange, but like thought has to go into things. Like, you can manipulate a flavor profile quite well. Like, you just have to put the process behind it. I don't know. Maybe it'll start becoming more and more of a thing. I don't know. That's what I do. It's what I know how to do. And it's interesting because people are like, oh, can you teach a blending class? Like, how to blend? And I'm like, I mean, I can talk to you, but my process is going to be completely different from what your process is. Like, the way that I organize things in my mind is very different. And in no way, shape, or form would I ever want to superimpose that upon someone else, because then they're not putting their intuition into it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just like rehearse like step one, do this, step two. Like, it doesn't work that way. But then you feel kind of like an asshole because you're like, nope, sorry, I can't do that. And then I don't know, there's a little bit of imposter syndrome that comes with that too, because you're like, why can't I explain it? It's like, I don't know, but do you want me to take you through all of my like emojis and symbols in my spreadsheet so that I can explain that and whatever? I don't know. It's hard. I wish that I could explain it better, and I'm probably doing a really shit job of it right now too, but
it makes sense to me.
I don't know how to describe it.
No, I think it makes sense. And, maybe we'll all understand Egyptian hieroglyphics after you teach us how to, blend whiskey.
See?
The chicken
There's
scratch.
secret codes in there.
Exactly.
Watch out.
What are like the top mistakes that I guess you could approach it that way. You say, what are things you should not do when you're trying to blend a whiskey? Like, how do you force a whiskey and then it just ruins a batch? I mean, that's possible too, right?
No, that's a really valid point. And first of all, with that, what I just said about making sure you know even just an estimate of what the yield is on the barrels, barrel to barrel, because you end up falling in love with this barrel that's giving you nothing but like really rich chocolate. And you're like, oh, my final, you take equal sample of each of those barrels and put it together. And you're like, there's so much chocolate. And that barrel was giving you like a gallon of whiskey out of it. Right. So things like that are really important to note. And then I don't know, outside of that though, I think a lot of people made So you think, like Nate said, the better the barrels in the batch, the better the batch, right? Sure, that makes perfect sense. And so a lot of brands, even when they first came out, whether they had a smaller batch product and single barrels, were like, cram all the good barrels at their leisure into this batch and assume that it would make it even better. But then they were left with like scant inventory for their single barrels that didn't necessarily turn out so well. So it's interesting. You have to find a way to incorporate such a diversity of barrels, because that's how you get a diverse flavor profile. And that's what you want. You want dimension. You don't want something that's just like,
yeah, depth of flavor. If we're to use a cooking term, right? I'll make you want to like use DoorDash at the end of this. Don't worry. I normally have to.
Do they give you $5 every time you mention them too?
Hell no. I need
still to waiting on the first check.
Still waiting. DoorDash is a ripoff. Just they mark like there's no way my Taco Bell order needs to be $20. Come on now, like my Taco
is
Bell,
that including like the delivery fee?
No, that's before the delivery fee.
Dude, that's the thing though. Like I will admit, I eat Taco Bell sober more often than I should, and it's expensive. It is.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. What's your Taco Bell go to? What do you eat?
So depending on the day, if I'm hungry, Mexican pizza meal, that one's good. And then if I'm like kind of in between, I definitely go the chicken quesadilla with the soft taco, and then I get a cheesy gordita crunch to go along with it.
This is awesome. What salsa do you get? Do you get the fire sauce?
No, I get hot. I think hot has more like habanero. I think the fire is a little more sweet heat. So I like the more like kind of burn my mouth off. Versus.
We're really getting into this with dissecting the
this is important.
Sauce packet.
I'll tell you,
definitely not a Mountain Dew fan. I don't like Baja Blast. That might be a hot take. Either Dr. Pepper or water.
This is so good. Now I want Taco Bell.
We did a barrel pick. Did a barrel pick in Kentucky one time, and we had been drinking pretty much all day, and we went through the Taco Bell drive-through and spent $120.
My man.
So holy shit!
It is doable.
It is doable. You can only top that by getting a couple Crave cases from White Castle.
Oh, that'd have been good.
Oh, it's this may not be hidden barn material, but this is important whiskey conversation because we all eat shit food at some point in time because we've been drunk or we just crave shit food.
This is how you improve your palate for whiskey.
See, you got to eat. You got to get a base.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to throw it off too much. Like Taco Bell's pretty bland, even though it's Mexican food.
Jake, I feel like I could get Fiesta Time quicker than I could get Taco Bell, and I would probably prefer that.
What's Fiesta Time? Wait, what?
It's just a local Mexican place, pretty close to Jake and I here in south end of Louisville, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeastern.
Yeah, on your way to Bardstown, you pass it.
Okay.
That's in Fern Creek, near Fern Creek.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like,
I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
But I mean, you order your food. That's why I take my kids there. You order your food, and like before they even have like their third chip, that your food's coming out. I'm like, okay, this is great. Faster than a Taco Bell drive-through.
Yeah, definitely. My son's got soccer tomorrow out at the park, so we're probably getting Mexican tomorrow after soccer. So, anywho, back to whiskey. Left turn, make a right. We're back on the on-ramp. We're on the Hidden Barn highway right now. So, one of the things, we didn't talk a lot about your limited edition Madeira. Do you I just want to briefly bring this up because I thought it was a very tasty pour last year, and I've enjoyed a pour of it tonight as well. Do you see yourself doing more finished product, or is that kind of something that's interesting to you?
So Madeira limited edition release number 2 will be coming out later on this summer. It's sitting there just cooking away right now in the heat of Kentucky. So there is more coming. And because that first one, I mean, it was beautiful. It was a really great product. Everybody loved it. So we laid down twice as much this time to spread the love a little bit more. So, this will be a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not done just yet, but it's almost there.
Yeah. Bacon whiskey in a second barrel is always an interesting thing, right? And you don't want to overdo it, but you want to find that sweet spot. It's just a lot like blending your barrel together. Can't over Madeiraize your whiskey.
That's true.
That's a term
That's
now.
very true.
Madeiraize.
It is now. It's a real word now.
So, you also have had a lot of critical acclaim, like the batch or series 1. I'm getting this all mixed up. Series 1, batch 5, double gold Madeira, series 1, double gold at San Francisco, series 2, batch 1, gold. What's that mean like for you all to have this youthful brand and hit at the top spirits competition in the world?
Nate, I'll let you lean in. I feel like I've been talking nonstop.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It feels good to have, some of the better palates, I guess, or these judges that are looking into the whiskey that we're putting out there and labeling it as quality whiskey. And I think for us, what we would say is the most important thing for us is that consumers enjoy it, and that people are opening it and sharing it and enjoying it and developing friendships and connections. And I think the bottom line for us is that's where we enjoy seeing, and we're honored, 100% honored to win some of these awards. We've only entered a couple of them, and we did well in both of them. And New Orleans was our first one, and that's where we were kind of like, I don't know what to expect. We entered it in the small batch, series 1 won best small batch at New Orleans Bourbon Festival, and that was that was kind of the first sign that, hey, maybe we're doing something okay here, and let's keep going. Let's keep going. And but for me, again, it's just like Jackie, when we get whiskey to lips and we're at festivals and we're talking to people and they're excited about it and they're talking about how they've had some of the different batches and shared, that's what to me is like, those are the things that I really get excited about. It's just to watch other people enjoy it and share it with others. So
yeah, I think it's very validating, you know what I mean? Because we can get all the attention in the beginning. And like I said, like people can buy one bottle and like, that's cool. But having those things, they're helpful for quick communication to the consumer, especially in retail settings, so it's nice to have them so early. And I don't know. I mean, I question myself I doubt myself nonstop. I'm my own worst critic up and down. And I never really leaned into the weight or the impact of those types of awards when it was a company that I worked for. But now that it's like, shit, if this sucks, like it's all on us. You know what I mean? And that's terrifying. So I don't know. I'm proud of like what we've done so far, and like people seem to dig it. And so good things.
Yeah. Can't beat it when people, give you all the proverbial high five, right? And like say like,
yeah,
we stacked hands. This is good. And now go buy some, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. So you heard it here first. Maybe you might have already seen it on Coming Whiskey or one of those other Instagram that Madeira Series 2 is coming soon. But other than that, where can people find out more about Hidden Barn, the brand, and what's coming down the pipe?
So go to the Hidden Barn website, hiddenbarnwhiskey.com, and sign up for the newsletter. We actually do send out a pretty detailed monthly newsletter that gives updates on like expansions of distribution, any events that we're going to be at. So you can come say hi. There's links to go purchase it, all that other fun stuff. So sign up for that newsletter because that's got everything in it.
Yeah, newsletters are super effective, and a good one is like everything. I love a good newsletter, so I will be signing up later today. So just be on the lookout for that. And so, where else can people just stay connected with you all? I know you all are personable people. We've gotten to know you all over the years. Where can people connect with you all on socials or elsewhere?
So follow the Hidden Barn Instagram for sure. I know I'm doing a really shit job of like being active with it. Sorry, Nate, he's gonna laugh. I'm the worst, but nonetheless, that's hidden_barn. You can follow me at Jackie Zykan, all one slosh together word. And then Nate.
Yeah, same. I mean, hidden_barn. Definitely give us a follow. Jackie is the one who runs that site, so she's be surprised, but she's handling business there. Our website, the newsletter is something that we really are trying to get out every month, and really a lot of information. You're going to see us at a lot of festivals. We usually show up in person, one of us or two of us or whatnot. We're there. Jackie and I just did St. Louis Bourbon and Brews. Just did Whiskey and Donuts in Denver. Jackie's coming out here to do the Whiskey Festival coming up on the 8th in Colorado out here. So we'll be at those festivals pouring and talking to people. And, that's something that we enjoy doing. So although last time, I forgot the cover to the canopy. So it started out a little rough, but we got it handled.
There you go.
It was only 95 degrees, 100% humidity. So it was pretty good. So
no big deal.
Great.
No big deal. And, I'll cover this part for you. If you want to potentially get a bottle shipped to you, go over to Sealbox, right? And get, purchase a bottle there. You all, I know, show up predominantly in those drops. When I've seen it, I've definitely, paid attention and looked at the information. So I know they do a good job helping you all promote your all's product as well. So it's pretty awesome to see what you all have done and what I thought was 2 years, but actually in 10 months. So kudos to you.
That's
all.
A compliment. Man.
That's
damn.
awesome. Like it really is.
Seems like you guys have been around forever.
Well,
it feels like it.
It does feel like it sometimes. I appreciate you saying that about Sealbox. Matt would have got mad at us for not saying something about it, so I appreciate that. But one thing I do want to say about Sealbox, which is cool, is, and we didn't really talk about our single barrels or our single barrel program, but we have a pretty cool single barrel thing, and Sealbox has some single barrels on there that Jackie did. And one of the things, and we didn't talk about this either, was the proof of whiskey, but we do and I always screw this up, Jackie. What do we call it? The proof to
custom proof. Every time you're like, what? It's just a custom proof. You can have whatever proof you want.
But that's one of the things that we like to do with our single barrels is that you'll taste it at cask strength, and then we'll prove it down to whatever proof you want, as long as it's above 80 and can't be higher than what the cask strength is. Of course, that would be impossible. So, but we work with you because we know whiskey tastes better at different proofs. Sometimes when you get that ABV, doesn't always have to be a cask strength thumper, and that's not always where it tastes best, where you get the most complexity. So we have that on Sealbox. There's a couple limited single barrels on there, and then they put some new stock out there that they had held back. So it's a good opportunity. If you can't get it in one of the states we're distributed in, it's on there for sure.
Yeah, if you all can figure out how to add proof to whiskey, I'm definitely signing up for that one. I'm very interested to see what that tastes like, along the way. So I'll definitely be on the eye out for the added proof. Hidden Barn.
That's probably the next thing you're going to see come out. Somebody's going to say added proof,
extra proof, whatever.
Extra proof, maximum proof.
We should just call it back hair. Like, it helps you grow back hair. Like, just make some scientific assumptions to it and see what happens. Because they always say whiskey puts hair on your chest. So like, someone needs to put that like hair on chest whiskey and like make you feel warm.
Oh, the label should be like fuzzy, like the old school Henry McKenna label that was like that velvety like texture. Like there needs to be like, on the back of the label is hairy. See?
Yeah.
We're doing all the things.
Yes.
You got to clear that through your marketing department and everybody else in the team of 4.
You're looking at it. We're good.
Got me going with the scratch and sniff bottle. What if you had a sticker on there you scratch, and then it gave you kind of a without opening the bottle what the nose on it might be? God,
hey,
damn!
I can tell you right now, scented sticker development is a very long, complicated process. We're not going down that route. Matt would not have it. That's way too much.
Well, a
hairy label.
A hair label would work. Also, if you do go down that route, you want to go to Flavor Man in downtown Louisville. That would be where the only opportunity probably you get at making that happen. And
did they give you $5?
I get no residuals.
Like, you are the most like company name dropping human I've ever met. Like,
he also knows Drake and Jay-Z and everybody else too. So.
Nah.
No, it's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's the coolest person I know? And I was going to say, I don't really
No,
know.
it's not even that. It sounds like it's like a sly like sponsorship added, like that you made it organic.
Bourbon Lens is known for its sponsorship reads that last like 3 to 5 minutes before every show. You know us.
Yeah. We went real hard on sponsorship ads one time. It lasted like 6 episodes and it was over. It was done. Yeah. And we just keep on keeping on. But if Hidden Barn has any marketing dollars, we can know how to slide in,
or maybe the 6th appearance. You never know.
Yeah. Just saying it's available.
Just saying.
Well, guys, it's been awesome to hang out with you all. Super excited about what's coming down the pipe. Love Series 2 Batch 1. Like, I'm getting barbecue at some point this week because of that. And the Madeira, it was dessert to finish my palate. Just keep doing what y'all are doing. It's super, super awesome. And we look forward to Madeira Series 2 coming out at the end of summer, or maybe into fall. So thank you all for joining. As always, if you want to know more about Bourbon Lens, go over to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you want to be a part of our community, go over to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens and join our community. Thank you to all of our Patreon members, from the basic tier all the way up to our bourbon enthusiasts. And last but not least, go over to your favorite podcast listening app, hit subscribe, and give us a 5-star review if you have a chance. We greatly appreciate it. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.